What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about being good versus being great. And what I want to talk about today is honestly one of the most important things, and I have two stories that I want to share with you. The first one is in Josh's article, he references Tim Grover. I've heard Tim Grover speak 4 or 5 times now. I've got to have conversations with him. I've had multiple pictures taken with him. He's part of the Arate Syndicate. He is... If you guys don't know who he is, he wrote the book Relentless, and if you are competitive or you like who Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or Dwayne Wade are, he's their trainer. Okay? He's one of the absolute craziest individuals on earth. He's this crazy old dude from Chicago who you can tell is just gangster as hell. He walks with a really bad limp with like hip issues and all this other stuff, but like you just would never mess with this dude. Like he is, if you're in the fitness industry and you're in the personal training industry, he's pretty much what everybody epitomizes to be, right? Like who would not want to have been Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Dwayne Wade's personal trainer? Like, that's the kind of caliber dude that this is. Now, he talks about being good versus being great in his book Relentless, which Josh references, okay? It talks about the difference between being a cooler, a closer, and a cleaner, right? And determining which one you are. The cooler, kind of like Josh explains in his article, the cooler is kind of the guy who just goes through life, never really has goals, never has standards, blames other people for his circumstances, blames politics, blames his upbringing, blames all this other crap, right? That's like, they're always the victim. It's the victim mentality. That's who a cooler is. The closer is somebody who's good at their job. They understand the big play. They can make the play if they get called upon, right? And they can do the work that's needed to succeed. And that's about where their talents cap off. And then there's cleaners. Cleaners know everyone else's job. Cleaners are the first one there and the last one out. Cleaners are the ones who orchestrate the last shot. Cleaners are the ones who take responsibility if they lose and who give away praise when they win. Cleaners are the ones like Kobe Bryant. And Tim told us a story about Kobe Bryant one day. One day, Kobe was playing. It was the night before he dropped 81 points. Okay, the night before Kobe dropped 81 points, Tim and him were talking and working together. And then the morning that the game that they had right before that game, he was actually out practicing, shooting free throws, doing his practice session. And for those of you guys who don't know, Kobe was practicing an hour before any of the rest of his teammates were. He had an entire regimen that he would go through. And when Kobe practiced, Kobe wasn't one of those guys who just practiced, right? Like he didn't just go through the motions, do some layups. Like he had a very set, regimented warm-up, and he would be sweating profusely and have to rehydrate, refuel, and everything before the game. Like, this is how hard this guy went before warm-ups. So he's warming up before the game, and one of the guys from the other team comes out, sees Kobe warming up, and so he goes, oh, well, I'm going to warm up too. And Kobe looks at him a few times and just keeps going through his regimen. Kobe looks at him a few times, just keeps going through his regimen. Finally, the other dude got so tired, and he was like, okay, I got to go back in. I got to get ready for the game. I can't exhaust all my energy. Goes back in. As soon as he's done, goes back into the locker room, gets changed, gets ready for the game. Kobe goes back in, gets ready for the game. Kobe goes out, just crushes this dude. Like, just absolutely demolishes everybody. And after the game, the dude went up to Kobe, and he was like, hey, man, like, you know, how do you practice so hard, like all that time? He goes, I was drained before. He goes, yeah, I saw you over there. He goes, there was no way I was going to walk off the court before you did. I don't care how much extra work I had to do. I wasn't going to let you see me get off the court before you. And guys, that's a cleaner. That's somebody who understands the difference between good and great. The difference between good and great is good people do what's required of them when they feel like it. Great people do what's required of them whether they feel like it or not. That's the only difference. Guys, I'm telling you, I have met people who are unbelievably successful. And when you talk to them and you get to know these people and you're communicating with them for days on end and like you're just generally meeting them, like you realize that they're not smarter than you. They're not better than you. The only difference between them and you is they've been doing it longer, they've been doing it harder, they've been doing it more consistently, and they're not going to let you beat them off the court. You're going to get off the court before them. And that's the difference between somebody who's great and somebody who's good. Go be an icon.